procedures and policies and checklists are one thing, but the most important is to build that trust and that confidence in the team as a leader. So as they say, with a great authority comes a great responsibility. Now, this is not just a dialogue from a script, but a deep sense in business as well.
You've led operations across 27 countries with a $100 million annual budget. That's not just leadership, that's deep responsibility. Hello everyone, you are listening to FaceTime with Leaders, where real stories meet real strategy. And today we've got someone who's literally operated across 27 countries and managed $100 million portfolios, all while staying deeply human in her leadership. Joining us today is Miss Anamika Kansal, global operations expert, coach, mentor, and a true force in both the corporate and non-profit world. Miss Anamika, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Tane. Thanks for the kind words, and it's an honor to be here.
The honor is all ours, ma'am. Ma'am, from PwC boardrooms to the Clinton Foundation and now Conservation International, you've built impact with scale and purpose with precision. Today, we're getting into how, why, and what leadership at that level really looks like. So, let's get started. Ma'am, firstly, I would like to start at right at the beginning. Like, could you tell us how this journey unfolded for you? Like, what led you into the kind of work you're doing today?
Yeah, that takes me back to many, many years actually. But I would say that being open-minded and ready to embrace any challenge, they have been the key or the pillar in my journey so far. My inherent values have always been guiding me all along. So starting my career at a very young age and still semi-professional, and then becoming a mother really soon enough, it gave me an insight into prioritizing, my work and my life. I didn't hesitate to take a pause in my career after moving to a new country with a new toddler. I loved every minute that I spent with him, and that shaped him into who he became as a young man today. Now, that period also somewhat shaped me into who I am today. I learned the joy of being selfless in giving, being grateful and satisfied with the situation, at hand. I loved every minute of the time spent with my young son, and that period somewhat helped me to shape into who I am today. So basically, why I'm saying that is being selfless giving, having that feeling of giving it selflessly, being a professional myself, and still making the most of the situation. It made me a hustler and a striver, always for bigger and better. So during that time, I made sure that, I keep my professional fire also going. So I did what I could sitting in a different country to upgrade myself, to keep myself busy, and to really draw that balance between the two sides. And I think my professional desire was so strong that I soon restarted my career with PricewaterhouseCoopers and then moved to the organizations which are engaged in, making Earth a better place to live. I think this is when I got a sense of direction about the kind of work that excites me and that I would want to do for the rest of my career. Now, at a time, I had to choose between the position of the global operations head role at Conservation International and a less demanding role in another MNC as CFO. I chose the former. The desire to give back to the society and the world continues to inspire me, and I'm now enjoying my journey being a coach and a mentor to create the same impact.
Yeah, and very rightly said, ma'am, that the art of balancing personal life as well as professional is something that everyone's journey is different, and we learn along the way and just become, I guess, better leaders that way.
Right. I mean, for sure.
Ma'am, you've led operations across 27 countries with a $100 million annual budget. That's not just leadership, that's deep responsibility. Ma'am, we would love to know how did you go about building systems and more importantly, trust at that scale? Because I imagine that's not something, spreadsheets alone can solve.
No, I completely agree with that. And procedures and policies and checklists are one thing, but the most important is to build that trust and that confidence in the team as a leader. So as they say, with a great authority comes a great responsibility. Now, this is not just a dialogue from a script, but a deep sense in business as well. And so dealing with people and that too with varied backgrounds and positions and cultures, it has its own shares of challenges. So one has to deal with the position, the structures, the emotions, the other human behaviors, which are not always congenial to you, from time to time. Now, very early in my leadership role, I was entrusted with a task to terminate a country director in one of my areas of operations. There was a lot of upheaval, and I was sent there by the senior leadership. And surely it was a long drawn, exhausting process. And at the end, we could achieve the outcome that we were looking to achieve. Senior leadership also recognized me and they were very happy with how things panned out. Um, However, as a reflection, which I normally do and I did at that time, I became aware that actually I had a lot of my personal emotions, my own emotions invested and a lot of preconceived judgments, even before I started the discussions, there. Now, that definitely was not a good place to be. And I genuinely thought that I need to work on my leadership style a little more. Now, to me, leadership is all about establishing trust. And that can be established typically by being there with the people, uh, deep listening to them, really making them feel safe and secure in the environment, being authentic, objective, respectful, and empathetic, to say the least. So I go by all these principles, and I feel after that incident and many more such incidents in my early leadership journey, I feel that I am now a spontaneous leader. Um, but it didn't come obviously by default. It came with a lot of hard work and a lot of, the burning desire to improve and continue to work on yourself. And I'm still working on it.
Lovely to hear that, ma'am. I think what you said is very right that leadership is also a journey and it's more about human psychology than anything else and understanding people.
Absolutely.
Speaking of navigating complexity, when you were leading those multi donor projects in Indonesia backed by names like Rockefeller and NORAD, what did you come to understand about managing stakeholders? The kind of lessons no spreadsheet can teach.
And I would say that just I'll open the sentence by saying that managing stakeholders is almost same as managing the teams, the multiple cultural teams, except that sometimes depending on the stakeholders, you have to really manage them with caution. So, big organizations, they do have strict systems and procedures, and that's the only way they can manage the multitude of grants and the projects in different diverse cultures and geographies. So I very early on understood that there will always be a gap between what is expected from the project or anyone by the stakeholders particularly versus what can be delivered. I can, as a stakeholder, my general sense is to just focus on my own interest. But as a project manager, my focus is on the delivery of the project successfully as per the milestones and the success criteria set by the donors. That's where I was going from. So I knew that there needs to be a middle path where we need to meet, and it's just how to get there was the question. And uh, I always have my biggest job as a leader or a project manager has been to build the bridge between the two sides, the expectations versus the reality. And as I said, we have to come somewhere in between.
Yeah.
So the bridge requires to have effective communication and understanding, again listening, of course, other than timely reporting, objective analysis, and mostly building the personal rapport to understand their side of the story so that we can meet in the middle. So I had one such situation where, we were negotiating or rather brainstorming the action plan or for the year, the work plan for the year with the government stakeholders. And as a leader, I knew, and having worked in multiple cultures, I knew what not to do rather than what to do. So as long as you know what not to do, you are safe. You won't make those mistakes. So speaking in their own language little bit, which I was fortunate to understand and know, and I could speak, building that trust by, listening to them, understanding their needs, even though in my head I might be having those, dialogues saying that, oh, this is not possible in the project. So in one such situation where we were trying to work and brainstorm the action programs and from a significant donor, and there was a misalignment in the expectations. And there was just not, we were not able to reach the common ground. It really seemed hard in that moment. And fortunately for me, I would say that we had a lunch break around the same time. And I was looking to get an informal setting, and we got one. And during that informal setting, I made them understand the challenges and the priority, the skill sets or the expertise that my organization was bringing on the platter, and also meant their expectations in terms of how much they wanted or needed to be done in their country. So at the end of it, I think we could mend their expectations and we could understand their minimum requirements. They could explicitly define that. So I guess summarizing it in a way that stakeholders are human beings as well. They have the similar kind of emotions, maybe sometimes a little more ego than normal, but we can't say anything. So we have to deal with caution, but at the same time, we have to be authentic and we have to be open and transparent with them, so that we can build that trust. And then they will listen to you, and then I think they're just like anyone.
Yeah, very rightly said. As long as you build trust with the social entity, after that the relationship can build, and that's like you said,
Yeah.
that can be with anyone.
It's like anyone, and stakeholders are important for the business. So are customers, so are, I mean, they're all important stakeholders. So are employees, they are stakeholders. But sometimes when the stakeholders are uh, government stakeholders, they can be a little bit more tricky, and depending on the culture and the nuances, that are attached to it, it can be tricky.
Yeah, I think one has to be open about it at that time. One has to learn to adapt, meet different people, cater to different people. That is the journey which takes years, I guess, of experience.
Absolutely.
Staying with the global lens, when you're working across regions like Latin America, Africa, and Asia Pacific, how do you navigate decision making when cultural, legal, and financial realities are all pulling in, different directions? That sounds like a leadership juggling act almost.
Yeah, it is actually. I like that term. It is a juggling act. There's no doubt about it. And look, decision making is not a process that is cut out straight from a template, especially when we have so many moving parts due to the diverse cultures, and that only makes things more ambiguous and complex. But as a leader, we have to be able to take a decision based on ambiguity and lack of clarity, because we cannot always get all of it. We do not always get the data. Sometimes it's just not possible also. So every person and place, they have their own uniqueness. It's been quite challenging, I would say, to bring them all on at a common stage. But it's not impossible. I think it requires a lot of patience, and I haven't mentioned patience, but that's one of the virtues, I would say. It's not
100%.
easy for people also to quickly adopt to changes. So they've been doing things a certain way, and just because I come there and I tell them to do it another way, they would say, "Why would I fix something that doesn't seem broken?" I
100%.
understand that. Absolutely. So I think what is important for me as a leader is to listen, learn about what they are working and how they are working, and then adopt what is good. What is it that is that they're doing is good and it's working for them, and don't break that. But at the same time, how to make the system stronger, basically co-creating something with them that improves their situation is the key, I would say. And co-creating is really important because they take the ownership, we have the buy-in, and they are empowered, they feel empowered. And at the end of the day, everyone wants to do a good job and wants to be successful at what they're doing. So early on, I realized that the only way, because it was such a large geography with the multiple cultures and very varied people, different emotions. I realized that I need to have an exhaustive system in place of do's and don'ts, the manuals for the processes, getting the buy-in from the important stakeholders, mostly internal. Surely the path was not as smooth as it may sound, but there were a lot of pushbacks from time to time. But I said, eventually, sometimes we meet at 50%, sometimes you meet at 90%, and sometimes you actually let go a few things and handle things differently. Whatever works, I think the focus is what is best for the organization is what is needed to be put in place. Because to me, if it doesn't work for them, it should not exist. So I have to make it work from them from where I was seeing. They were literally my clients, in that sense. So that's what I would say. Not a clear, straight out answer, but the decision-making process is always different for different geographies, different people, um, and different cultures.
Very well said. That it's ultimately about patience and understanding what they want rather than putting your mindset first of what you want to do for them.
One more thing that which
Yes.
I have not covered, that one has to come from the place of mutual respect and admiration. I think that is the minimum any human being will expect or should get. So I think sometimes as a leader we have to remind ourselves that, because we are in the heat of the moment, it's very easy to lose that, because you have that authority and you have that
Yeah.
position that you can actually forget that really soon.
And that is the base of any relationship in any facet of
Exactly.
life, right? Of
Exactly.
having that respect for the other person.
Yeah, totally.
Ma'am, with such a rich and diverse journey behind you, I'm just curious that when you think about what's next, what is in your mind, whether it's personal growth, boardroom ambitions, what are the next chapters of your life you're excited to write?
I think all of it, I would say, after after having worked in the industry for 20 years with, all the experience, mostly international, that I have, I think and it's only logical for me to give back my learnings and my experiences, because I do feel where I'm sitting right now, I'm happy being a mentor and a coach. Uh, I feel it's a bit distant. I'm enjoying it, but I feel it's a bit distant though. And so and also what I have witnessed so far is that by coaching and by mentoring some of these global leaders, I feel that they have become better leaders. It has been impactful. Uh, and it ultimately impacts the businesses, in a positive way. Not always, but most of the times, I would say. So this desire has been the inspiring factor, actually, behind my going for the independent director. It is all of it when 10 years back, when I was working with, not even 10 years, 5 or 7 years back, when I was working with Conservation International, and I was attending those board meetings and the audit committee meetings and the compliance committee meeting and all of that. That process, obviously, I was sitting on the other side of the table. But I understood the importance of those meetings, and I understood the importance of board of directors asking me questions, and sometimes even pushing me against the wall, which I not always appreciated, but I do in the hindsight, for sure. So at that time, I had this ambition of boardroom. It's just that I never got to it, doing it. And when somehow the desire was strong, again, I would say, I stumbled upon Directors Institute on social media, and I just clicked on it, and I took the first meeting, and that's pretty much it. And I do feel that I'm ready to add value to the business, especially in the area of corporate governance, risk mitigation management, internal controls, audit, finance and strategic management, because these have been my bread and butter, more or less, throughout my, particularly the last 10, 12 years of my career. So I think everything, and I feel this is like the probably where I wanted to reach and I haven't reached yet. So this is where I aspire to be, and I'm inspired by the work that I have done so far. And I'm humbly saying that, not out of anything else. And I feel that I can contribute more. And I can contribute more, working more closely with the organizations and the senior leaders rather than just coaching and mentoring them, which is in it, not to undermine that thing, but
Of course.
yeah.
Very well said. I mean, what with all the ideologies, ma'am, you've been sharing, I think honestly it'll be a privilege for any organization to have.
Yeah, no, thanks for that. You're very kind, Tane, you're saying that way.
No, absolutely, ma'am. You made things so simple. I think the audience will love it about how relationships in any field, especially in the corporate field, also need to be taken care of, and patience is so important. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think, relationship, empathy, if I listen to you, because the challenge is sometimes that we only listen because we have to listen, or we are listening because we are waiting to speak our perspective.
Yeah.
Deep listening does not happen in corporates most of the times. So
100%.
to me, that is the key.
Yeah, because all the answers to the problems are somewhere hidden in those lines.
Absolutely.
Ma'am, with everything you've led so far, from complex operations to high impact teams, this brings me to something many leaders are still figuring out, which is, in your view, is ESG just a box to tick, or is it really a mindset or becoming a mindset? Like, how do you think leaders today should approach it?
Well, I think to me, ESG is the call of the hour, and it has to really go beyond what we do as a part of mandatory business activity. We should be more responsible, as a citizen of the planet Earth. And for me, as a starter, though, in my view, we need to be aware of our footprints, in whichever way we act, whether it is emitting the carbon footprints or in because of we are not sustainably growing. That means we are affecting the society and the community livelihoods negatively. So these are some of the things which we need to be aware of, and awareness will bring the acceptance, and acceptance will help us to move into that direction. So it could be something as simple as reducing household waste by making manure out of it by a house owner, or really funding a project or working on a project to reduce the deforestation and degradation, uh, to set off the palm oil mining, let's say, production footprints by a business. So it's environment and communities were not considered as a stakeholders earlier. Uh, but the reality is, and people are coming along this reality surely, slowly but surely, that we cannot ignore it anymore. Cannot ignore them anymore, because for the holistic development of the world or the growth of the world, we need to take these along. Uh, People agree or not agree, those who don't agree with it right now will face the consequences, or will realize at some point. So to me, it is a must. And moreover, in my having worked with Conservation International for 10 years, I have worked on a lot of projects to restore the natural resources, whether you talk about land or sea or river or whatever that might be, or reducing the deforestation and degradation of our landscapes. So it's to me, it is a must, and I was really glad to see this as a part of the curriculum when I received my books and everything. I was really happy to see that ESG is a part of that. it is pertinent to have a sustainable lifestyle. There's no second thought. They are realizing, and I think, well, what you're saying is absolutely right. But I'm coming from a place where I feel that if I am making cell phones, then I am doing so many things because I'm producing those cell phones. So I'm doing so many things which are not good for the environment.
Correct.
So what should I do to compensate for that? The simple thinking is that rather than just ticking the box that I need to do this. So I feel strongly about it as a professional.
Yeah, because after a point you can handle it till a certain point, but after which there will be a situation of no return if we don't, like you said, just
We're
keep
almost,
producing.
absolutely. And we are almost there. I mean, you see the climate changing all over.
100%. Ma'am, before we wrap up, I'd love to know what drew you to join Directors Institute and how has that experience shaped or supported your journey at this stage of your life?
Tane, thanks for asking that. I've just gotten started. I am really excited, looking forward to really learning it all because I have this hunger for learning, and I'm happy with where I am in my journey, both life, personally, as well as professionally. But I feel that there is more that I can do towards business and society as large, as I earlier mentioned. So I feel that the logical way for me to make an impact, closer impact or a deeper impact, is to be at the decision table. That's where I'm coming from. So being an independent director allows me to do that. Really, you can call it my calling or whatever. But this journey that I have embarked into now was not planned. It just happened to me, and um, yeah, it's going to be a game changer for me personally and professionally. Um, so I'm really happy and looking forward to the new beginnings, new learnings, and new beginnings, I would say. And this could be a stepping stone in the right direction for me.
Lovely, ma'am. Thank you for those kind words. And thank you for sharing not just your journey but the mindset, clarity, and heart behind it. From leading multi country operations to shaping purpose driven dreams, and from governance to mentorship, you've given us a masterclass, ma'am, today of, like I said, what leadership truly looks like. So, thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much, Tane. Pleasure is all mine.
And to our audience, we hope this conversation sparked reflection, ambition, and maybe a little courage to lead differently. This has been FaceTime with Leaders with Directors Institute. Until next time, stay curious, stay intentional, keep leading forward, and of course, have fun in your journey. Thank you so much.